Hello and welcome to the Fulhamish Quick Take here on the YouTube channel after Fulham's 0-0 draw with Everton. 46 shots, 21 corners, no goals. Oh, Fulham. Hello, mate.
Hello, hello. You got to laugh. You have to laugh.
Well, what a ridiculous game of football. How's that ended goalless?
Well, I was going to ask that question. I was going to say, how has that possibly ended 0-0? But I think we all know the answer. Is that neither team is capable of putting the ball in the net. Both sets of teams have strikers on their books who just aren't natural goal scorers at the moment.
It was a pretty. I felt like it was coming for a long time as well. Feel like the evening started off in the worst way possible when Sean Dyche switched ends. We're in for a bad evening when that happens.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm sure when you actually break down the numbers, it makes no difference. But I'm certain that when we swap ends, it just feels like in the second half we just don't have the juice to get it over the line. Whereas if we'd have been the other way around, I reckon the hammy end would have just sucked one in eventually. But yeah, I thought it was. I did think it was coming. I thought we would eventually score. It just felt like one of those where something would happen, but it just never. It never did. And actually, we got worse as the game closed off. And we were saying it just before that whilst we could have won that game 3-4, 5-0 because we had the chances to, we could have lost it 1-0. Like Beto's chance at the end, I have no idea how he's missed by that much from that close. And then that weird goal mouth scramble from the corner. I kind of maybe a little bit lucky.
Yeah, I mean, towards the end, I was actually like, obviously, normally full time, I'd be like, oh no, we didn't get the win afterwards. I was like, thank God we got a point there. I felt like first half, Willian was by far our best player, which is somewhat concerning that he seems to always be bailing us out. But he looked like the best option. But Fulham had big chances, didn't they?
Yeah, we did. I thought that left-hand side in general was quite good. I thought Anthony Robinson was nearly flawless, apart from maybe that final delivery. But we always say that about him. But when you take into account, there was a couple of moments on like the recovery run where he nipped the ball off Danjuma, I think it was, in a foot race. I think he's so vital to this Fulham side. And whilst we all have our gripes with him, how he contributes to the full team, he's like such a vital player for us. So I thought that link-up play again was good, and Tom Cairney fitting in there as well worked really well. And I did think that the way Everton set up let us be really good. They played like the 4-4-2, which I mean is Sean Dyche, it fits really nicely. But I thought it allowed us to get wide quite often. It felt like their wingers were tasked with standing on the overlapping fullbacks, but it didn't really work, and we had so much joy, and we just again like chances came, and I think Raul's was the biggest one. That one where I don't know if it was the same way you were, but everyone started celebrating as he hit it. Everyone was like, "Let's go!" And I don't know how he's missed. And watching it back, it's maybe not as bad of a miss as it looked at the time because he's got a lot of bodies in the way. But he really does sort of have to hit the target, I think.
That was my thing. I think it was a hard one, but also I felt like, as ever with Raul, just maybe overthought it a little bit. Tries to go with the outside of the foot and just maybe a side foot there, just as gets the job done. But he is one of numerous players in that first half that's burned chances. And also, we're not really sure what the latest is with Raul, but he looked like he had a knock almost straight after that incident, and on comes Rodrigo Muniz at half time, and I don't know, he fascinates me, Muniz, because he has a couple of moments of like real quality where he's able to get the ball down, control it, but just there's so much missing from his game, and you need more from a Premier League striker.
I think there's something so likeable about him because he's so desperate to throw his body about, run around the pitch, try and make things happen. And I think it's likeable because you need something like that if you don't have the skills to back it up. So at least he's really trying. But I do think that as many problems as we can have with Raul maybe not being, he's not at the level that is enough for this Fulham side to be as good as they can be. Like a better striker in there makes this a really good team. But I think he's just so comfortably our best option because as soon as Muniz comes on, we suddenly can't hold the ball up when it goes forward. Like he loses every header. He doesn't stick to his feet. And so whilst he's got all that effort, I think our play just sort of breaks down around it. And we just didn't have as much control in that second half. And then I just don't have faith of him sort of finishing chances. He just doesn't seem like he's going to put anything away. And I'd love him to, because as I say, I think he's really likable. I think everyone wants him to do well, but I just can't see it happening.
What's the bigger kind of factor tonight? The positivity that we created so many chances and had so many openings and so much of the play, or the negativity that we can't seem to put this domination into goals?
I'm coming away feeling really negative tonight. I think it's not just our inability to put the ball in the net. I think it's great that we're creating chances, but suddenly, as you hit the 60th, 70th minute, we look and you're like, right, who can come on and change this game? There's no one. There's no one. You know, the guy who sits next to me, he turns like, oh, who have we got on the bench? And you're like, oh, we haven't got a number 10, so Andreas Pereira's going to play the full game. We haven't got another winger, so Willian and Bobby have got to play the full game. We've got some holding midfielders, some fullbacks and a centre-back, and you can't change the game. And I think that's such a massive negative, and it's not the squad's fault and it's not Marco's fault. We just don't have the tools to get results in games where, you know, in that moment, if we can throw on a game-changing sub, but it's just someone with something different, maybe we get over the line. But we don't have a viable centre-forward option, and we, at the moment, with that Wilson injury, Adama's still out, Iwobi's still at AFCON, we're like on our knees, and it's mental that we're on the 30th of January and we're in the same place that we were on the 1st of January and the 1st of December and the 1st of November. We've not made any progress.
And more big games coming up, presumably with the same amount of players. Obviously, there is the transfer deadline between now and Burnley. You imagine whoever we sign is going to struggle to play much, if anything, at Turf Moor. They might be there for Bournemouth. And these are two big games against teams that we've got to win, because after that, you know, the run gets tough, and I'm a little bit concerned that, I mean, a point tonight, all in all, is
It's not a bad result. It's not like the end of the world, and actually, if we'd have lost that game, then it'd been real trouble. But we are still, like, every time we look down and we think, oh, teams are getting close, I think we do just pick up points here and there that keeps it far enough at bay. But I think in terms of just, we as a fans, I think we need something to generate some good feeling. Like, we're just like, and tonight, like a gritty 1-0 win, I think would have alleviated so much stress and so much ill feeling just for a little bit of time. And so the fact that it's been it was a bit of a nutty 0-0 draw where no one's coming away feeling any better, I don't think.
Yeah, and I've just got a massive sense of deja vu from last season as well.
Identical game of football. We said it on the podcast. It was just like such a frustrating. We got Sean Dyche again, but actually, I think, to be fair, it's a better result for us than it is for them. You know how results have gone. That's them in the bottom three now. So I think there was more pressure on them to perform today, and they didn't. I thought they were really poor. I thought that was a really bad performance from Everton. Like, tactically, individually, I was pretty impressed by them when we played them first game of the season. I was like, actually, this Everton team are a lot better than I thought they were. And off the back of the points deduction, they looked a good team, but right now they don't. Right now they look really like they are in trouble of going down.
Well, I felt like tonight they missed Decore in the middle so much. It gave us a lot of freedom, and Kearney had lots of time on the ball, time that he just didn't have in that game against Liverpool. You saw it was night and day, the amount of space that our midfield had today compared to what we saw a week ago again. I mean, that's to be expected. Like, we did, one team was Liverpool, the other team was Everton. They might be close in distance, but in terms of ability, there's a lot to be said. But it did give us a lot more control in the middle of the park.
It did, and while we sit here and complain about squad depth, like, their midfield pair of Dwight McNeil and James Garner, like, I feel sorry for them. Like, that's a rough midfield to have to put up with. And then you think Ashley Young playing on the right hand side of midfield as a sort of half right wing back, half right winger. Like, that's the bare bones of that. That's a bad team. Like, that's not a good enough team, and we should have beaten it, but we had so much time on the ball. The possession stats, and we've said it before actually, that Fulham do get in trouble when they've got too much of the ball, but it almost didn't feel like that tonight. I thought we used the ball well, and we manoeuvred it very well, and Tom Kearney, it's like the perfect game for him. I thought he was superb.
Yeah.
And without wanting to bash him again, I think that so much breaks down at Andreas Pereira. Like, so much of what we do is positive, and we get it into good positions, and then Andreas Pereira shoots from 35 yards for no reason, or he gets his head up, he does 3 step overs, turns back and passes it back 30 yards to toss in, and it's just, that's where I think Iwobi has missed big time. And actually, the best Andreas has been this season is when Iwobi was starting to see more minutes, and he started to come on as a sub in games. I think with a point to prove, and at the moment he doesn't feel like he's sort of getting any credit in the bank for the second Iwobi steps back in England, because I think he'll be straight back in the team.
Yeah, I mean, I want Alex Iwobi and Calvin Bassey to do well at AFCON, but I am.
Please come back.
I'm not going to shed too many tears if Nigeria get knocked out in the quarterfinals of AFCON, only because they might come back to Fulham and save us pretty soon. Just before we finish, Dan, 2 days left of the window. Predictions?
I don't see us doing anything.
Anything?
I think we have to, but it doesn't mean that I think we will, because we've seen nothing. Like, we've not heard. I'm not sure how much I believe the Armando Broja rumours. It doesn't sound like something we would particularly do, and it is conveniently timed with a period of time when people are complaining about the lack of investment in the club and the fans being overcharged. 24 hours later, apparently we've put in a £35 million bid for a striker. Feels a bit convenient. I don't know how much I believe it. I think we've got to get at least a striker and a winger in. Like, at the very least, that's what we need. But I'd say we need 3 players, including a central midfielder. But I don't know. Like, I don't know. I've not seen anything.
Yeah.
One other thing, can we just say that Fulham did break a record tonight for the most empty seats at a sold-out game of football? Like, oh my God. Like, the row behind me in H5 didn't have people in it. And you look at the Johnny Haynes, the Riverside, there was like rows of empty seats. Like, the PR spin on that was laughable.
Yeah. No, a real big sellout tonight. I'm absolutely heaving at Craven Cottage it was. Thank you very much for watching today. Thank you to the Craft Beer Company for putting us up as ever. Leave your comments down below with what you thought of the game, and hit subscribe on the channel if you haven't already. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you very much, Sammy.
And we'll see you soon.